We have a major Cowboys trade report as Dallas is the favorite for a superstar running back who wants off of his current team. We tell you why he would make the offense for the Cowboys substantially better and all the latest right here on Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I am Jace Andrews. I appreciate you joining us. If this is your first time, hit that subscribe button. We're covering America's team daily right here on Cowboys Digest. Let's talk about a new trade report that has come in, labeling the Cowboys as a top landing spot for a disgruntled 25-year-old superstar. Now, the 25-year-old superstar in question is James Cook of the Buffalo Bills. Now, if you haven't been following the NFL here in the offseason, which a lot of people don't, James Cook is not exactly the happiest in Buffalo. He wants a new contract, which he is scheduled to get one in the upcoming season, not this year, but next year. And in that time, he wants to try and find his long-term team. The Cowboys have been looking for a long-term running back. Rico Dowdle did some great things, but they let him walk in free agency. They signed Javonte Williams. They signed Miles Sanders. Jaden Blue was drafted. The running back is definitely going to be a committee this next upcoming season. However, we've done a couple of trade reports. The Cowboys are interested in landing a running back. Now, obviously, they've gone all in a couple of different aspects, trading for George Pickens, making a couple of moves this offseason, obviously getting a new head coach. All are things that Jerry Jones has done to show you that he is serious about the Cowboys being legit contenders this season. And so, why not list James Cook as a potential option for the Dallas Cowboys? That's where we go into our first part of this report from Josh Sanchez of Dallas Cowboys SI. We talk about the running back room here first, saying, quote, the Dallas Cowboys made several moves during the NFL offseason to revamp the team's running back room, signing multiple veterans and adding 2 rookies in the 2025 NFL draft class. Dallas signed veterans Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, while drafting Texas speedster Jaden Blue and Clemson Mauler Phil Maffa. Now again, like I said, I think this running back room is going to be running back by committee. And there is a part of me that believes Jaden Blue or Phil Maffa could be the future for the Cowboys running back room. And maybe down the line, they become the top running back for the Dallas Cowboys. However, it's not a guaranteed thing. And the Cowboys, who have some cap space at this current time for this year, could go out there and get somebody like a James Cook. He would fit well. And that's where we go into further this report. Saying, quote, Fantasy Sports of SI takes a look at the top landing spots from a fantasy perspective for disgruntled Buffalo Bills star James Cook, and the Cowboys naturally popped up on the list, end quote. That's where we go a little bit more into James Cook. Talk about his stats, talk about why he would improve this Dallas Cowboys running back room. So first off, in the past 2 seasons when he has been the legitimate 4-down, 3-down back for the Buffalo Bills, he has rushed for 1,000 yards in both seasons. He has rushed for over 200 carries, and his average is absolutely insane in every year he's been in the NFL. 5.7, although he only rushed it 89 times his rookie year. 4.7 in 2023. Then this most previous year, 4.9 in 2024, including 16 touchdowns. This guy is a certified stud, and that's exactly why he's looking for a new contract. Now, the part of this trade that gets a little bit hairy is if he is traded, he is really expecting to sign an extension there. That's kind of part of why he wants to go somewhere else, because the Buffalo Bills have stated that they are not going to be able to sign James Cook with their contract cap space they currently have. The Dallas Cowboys could make it work, but it would have to have some dominoes falling into place. Now, James Cook, again, this past season, 1,200 plus yards, had 18 total touchdowns when you include everything, on 207 rushing attempts. He also had 32 receptions. He is a very good 3-down back. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can be your guy to control the running back room. And I've mentioned this a couple times on this channel, but the Dallas Cowboys had a fantastic offseason, in my opinion. The draft was really good. I'm not going to give it an A, but it was really good. I would say a solid B. The offseason acquisitions, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, I know they're both running backs, and that would kind of be really nullified if you do trade for one. However, decently good signings. I wouldn't quote Javonte as a veteran. I don't know where that's really coming from. I mean, he was in UNC not 5 years ago. I know for running backs, maybe that's a long time, but I digress. George Pickens, big move. Obviously, they made some things happen this offseason, like I said, to show you they are legitimate contenders coming up for the 2025 NFL season. James Cook doubles down on this. any running back does, but James Cook legitimately does because he's young. He fits the vibe of the Cowboys. He can come in here. You can sign him to that long-term contract, and boom, you have your running back of the future. Now, for James Cook, there's a couple of different things to discuss with him in terms of why he makes this offense better. But in some ways, I think you almost have to look back at the Cowboys and why their offense is already to a plus standpoint and why James Cook could just add to the total. And that's where we go into the article as well. Dave Holcomb of Fantasy Sport SI saying, quote, with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens on the outside, there should be plenty of rushing lanes for Cook. The offense could also do plenty of scoring. Just 2 years ago, Dallas led the NFL in points per game, end quote. And that's a big thing I think people are missing. Last year, Rico Dowdle had a great year. I think that for Rico Dowdle was a fantastic year. But now when you add a wide receiver to the level of George Pickens to your staff, even if you can make it work where you trade for James Cook just for this year and then you don't sign him back, I'm making that deal. You go out, you get a running back, you put all your chips in for this year. He's not going to be that expensive for the year. And, you talk about CeeDee Lamb, you talk about George Pickens. These guys are going to be helpful in so many different aspects. Obviously, George Pickens was the big acquisition this offseason that kind of broke all newsstands. Nearly 900 yards last year, 3 touchdowns. A little bit low for the touchdowns, but you also have to remember that it was a very full wide receiver room for the Pittsburgh Steelers. George Pickens, obviously, his attitude in some ways also correlated with that. But in terms of deep ball, he is going to be amazing for the Dallas Cowboys. And Dak Prescott can hit those deep balls very easily, especially when you have the defense worrying about CeeDee Lamb underneath. Now, speaking of CeeDee Lamb, his stats are also just something to look at. Over 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's somebody that takes the eyes off of the backfield. He takes the eyes away from other parts of your offense. And that would allow for James Cook to again succeed. And so here's one way to look at this. James Cook was going on that last year. Maybe you talk to the Bills. We're not going to sign him. We're not going to get him long term. However, we want him this year. We'll give you a couple picks, and in that aspect, you bring him in, and James Cook can perform very well with the Cowboys and get himself a long-term contract next year. Whether that's with the Cowboys, who knows? But I think it would be a good situation for both sides, to be quite honest, and the way that it works. And so that is, though, also the part of this trade that kind of makes it a little hard because James Cook is looking at a big payday. And we have this from Josh Sanchez saying, quote, James Cook is looking for a big payday, so that could take the Cowboys out of the mix from a financial standpoint, especially with George Pickens entering the final year of his deal, end quote. The money is the big thing, and we look at the cap space for this upcoming season. You got about $5 million in team cap space coming up next year, and you want to sign George Pickens. Now, there's a lot that can change heading into 2026. The reason I picked 2026, though, is because 2025, you have $30 million in cap space. It would work this year, no matter if you sign him to an extension and put it in place this season. But as he said in the report, George Pickens, who, again, when they traded for him, it seemed like one of those, okay, we're going to try and keep him here for at least a couple more years. Not just a one-year rental, but keep him here for the next 3-4 years. And so, for the Dallas Cowboys, if you go out there and get James Cook, that limits the potential for a contract for George Pickens to get done. The money becomes a little bit more tight than it was before you made that trade. And in some ways, James Cook can perform without George Pickens. And George Pickens would improve and be better if he had a running back that you also had to worry about. He's also already going to think it'll be better, given he's going to have CeeDee Lamb on the other side of him. So it's a very interesting decision on both standpoints. But the biggest thing to me is that James Cook does not want to be on the Buffalo Bills. That is not where he wants to be. And so, what if you go out there? It's not going to cost you that much, given his disgruntlement would be the best word to put with the Buffalo Bills. Go out there, trade a couple of picks. You're able to recuperate that in James Cook, and it's just a matter of if you would like to sign him or not. Let me know, is this a guy you'd like to see traded for? Is there a do you want the Cowboys to trade for running back? Or I think there are some people out there, and let me know if you're one of these people who thinks that Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, can be a running back by committee. Jaden Blue has potential, and that the running back room for the Cowboys is maybe better than I or a lot of Cowboys fans are expecting it to be. I love the differentiating opinions of Cowboys fans and of NFL fans. It's exactly why we have this channel. So get down there in the comment section, especially if you made it to the end of the video. Let me know what you believe. Do you think this running back room is good? Do you think it needs to be a trade? Do you think there needs to be a trade? If so, is James Cook your guy, or is there somebody else that you'd like to go out there and get? That about does it here for me, though, here on Cowboys Digest. I certainly do appreciate everybody watching, especially if you have made it to the end of the video. For now, though, I will say peace out, and we'll see you next time here on Cowboys Digest.